Hello everyone, welcome to GB Bricks. Today LEGO have officially unveiled two new LEGO ideas submissions that reached the 10,000 fan votes and have now been declared as the next two sets to be turned into official LEGO sets at some point in the future. There's one in particular that caught my eye. I'm a big Godzilla and KAIJU fan in particular, and one of them is based on the King of the Monsters, so I'm going to give my thoughts on this. Not necessarily the build itself, because it will go through changes before it's made into an official set anyway, but some of the changes I'd like to see, some things I'd like to be seen kept as they are. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, let me tell you. So there were two LEGO Ideas submissions that obviously got the 10k support in terms of votes and have officially been chosen to become LEGO sets. The first of those is the Tintin rocket, which I'm not going to spend much time at all talking about, but I did watch a bit of Tintin as a kid, the cartoon, and read some of the books, but my knowledge of the source material these days is nowhere on par to talk about this really. It looks fine, but this video is very much about the second of the ideas picked, just because I'm a massive Godzilla fan, and of course this is Godzilla, and it's finally going to happen. Because in fact I was going to make a video about 10 IPs that I'd love to see LEGO pick up, just never got round to it, and one of those was going to be Godzilla and kind of the Toho monsters, Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, etc, etc, and I'd love to see those follow suit. But for now it looks like we're getting Godzilla, which is fantastic. And this model, I'm sure this submission has been around for a while. I've seen pictures of this kind of doing the rounds for a long time. It's obviously had the 10,000 votes and got the support that way and has now been picked. There are some aspects of this I absolutely love. First of all, I want to say that any critique I offer is not because I think I could do better. In fact, the amount of times I've wanted to try and build a Godzilla LEGO model, I just wouldn't even know where to start. It's so far outside of my skill set when it comes to LEGO that I wouldn't have a clue. So absolute fair play to the designer of this model, Matt E720, I believe it is. It's an incredible model. There's some real huge positives about it. And I really do hope that LEGO, when they convert this into an official set, do not necessarily keep completely true to this design, but there are certain parts they have to, otherwise it's going to fall flat. The first of those is the bulk. They have to keep that bulk. If anything, maybe even add a little bit more, specifically in the legs. Godzilla originally, we go all the way back to 1954, was very bottom heavy. You know, he had a huge, big legs, big chunky legs, and quite a thin neck, and obviously a massive tail. And now this design, I would say, without knowing, I don't know if on the blurb on the LEGO Ideas website it specifically says, but just judging by what I'm seeing, I would say this has been influenced more by the Monsterverse Godzilla, you know, the Hollywood Godzilla, if you like, than the Toho original. Well, it's certainly not the Toho original, but then any sort of incarnation from Toho. The one it looks most like, and I'd be surprised if it was or had taken inspiration from this, was there was a cartoon or like a film, but an animated film in 2017, I believe, and this looks like that Godzilla more so than any other. It's got the thin neck, you know, very little shoulders, but still has that chunk in its legs. So I'm imagining it's taken inspiration from the Americanized Godzilla. Now, if it doesn't keep that bulk in the legs, you're going to end up with something very skinny that will look more like the other American Godzilla from 1998, and nobody wants that. So it's imperative that they do keep that heft to the model. It's got to be big, it's got to be chunky. Now, this piece count, I can't see it stated anywhere, but it looks like it's going to be a substantial number. In fact, whilst I was scrolling down and looking for a piece count, I've seen it does say it's inspired by the more recent American Hollywood movies, so yeah, that certainly ties in with the look. In a way, I find that a little disappointing, and again, that's not a knock on this model, which looks incredible. Just, if you're going to get Godzilla, I want the original source material, or if you're going to go more modern, something like the -1 Shin Godzilla, I would have taken that all day long, but I'll take whatever's coming because I'm a massive fan. But yeah, the piece count needs to be high. Now, I am an advocate for cheaper LEGO sets. You know, I do believe that there should be something for everyone, and if they were to make a singular Godzilla set, and it was incredibly expensive, that would be disappointing, because if you are a fan and the only one available to you is a lot of money, that's unfortunate. But to do this justice, you know, the level of detail it's going to require will need a higher piece count. Otherwise, it's going to end up looking like one of the lower end Ninjago dragons, which would defeat the whole purpose of doing it. You know, it's got to look like Godzilla. Now, it looks like, or in the design submission at least, there's a peripheral that acts as his atomic breath. I'd love to see something like that in the final build. I'd love to perhaps have a way of changing the dorsal plates on his back to show the fact that he's charging up. Have some transparent ones that you can swap in and out. That would be great. I'd love for them to really get across the sense of size and power and danger that this creature represents, but not put any side builds in it, despite the fact that they can create that illusion, because it will take away from the piece count going into Godzilla himself. And it's necessary, absolutely necessary, that they put all of their resources into that. If they don't, I think it will be a disappointment. I would love to see this become a theme in and of itself. You know, then you could go cheaper with some of the sets. Could perhaps introduce other sets with minifigures in if you felt the need. I don't think it's warranted in this particular theme, but like I said earlier, I'd love to see some of the other monsters turn up, the other kaiju, and having a Mechagodzilla or a King Ghidorah or a Bylante or a Hedorah, even someone as obscure as that, or at least not as well known, would be fantastic. But I do hope that if it leads to more than just one model, we see a Toho specific Godzilla, either a 1954 one or like I said, maybe one of the more recent interpretations as per Toho themselves. All in all then, I mean, I'm delighted it's happening. I like the model from the source material they've taken from. It's incredibly impressive. Looks just like it should. I just wish they'd taken inspiration from something a bit closer to the original source material, but I didn't build it, so what do I know? So there you have it then. There are my thoughts on the potential Lego Godzilla set, or it's definite it's going to happen, but the potential for what it could become. Yeah, I do hope they don't skimp out on the piece count and make it, you know, small and frail. It's got to be a big chunky beast of a set to really capture the essence of the character. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Do feel free to watch some more of my content. I've got playlists down there. My most recent video was part 3 of my building a sweet shop mock series, and we've just built the flat atop the sweet shop. I'll put a playlist to that in the top right hand corner. Do feel free to subscribe to the channel, and please give this video a like if you do like what you've seen. Until next time, take care and happy building.